Howdy y'all, thank you for joining me today for this playthrough of, we're actually going to play through the Angel Hero Pack here. And what this is, I do a video where I take the deck straight from the box, which these are pre-built. And I like to take it unchanged, just sleeve it up, give it some shuffles, and put it up against a villain. In this set, in this case, it's going to be the villain in the first set of villains in the next evolution box. And it's going to be the first set of them, like I said, which is going to be the Marauders. And I like to see if these decks can just hold up and see if they can work against the villains. That way, if it's a new player who just bought this deck and they don't have anything else, they can see if this is something that will let them be able to still feel like they can compete and then just make a few changes if they want to down the road. And try it out, see if it's a game they like. Because the more people I can get into this game, the more people that can play it, and hence the more people I get to play this game with, because I do enjoy this game a lot. But anyways, this is going to be, normally I do a quick teach through all this. I'm just going to shuffle this while I'm talking about this little section. Usually the first round I'll do a teach. Basically, I know it gets boring for, you know, people who play the game a lot, but it's so that if someone is new and they're jumping into this, they can basically see if this is something they like or not. And they can at least follow along on the teach. This one's probably going to be a little bit a shorter one because I am kind of rushed and crunched for time right now, so I can try to get this video out there so you can see the new mechanics and how they activate and stuff. And I got these a little bit later than I usually do, and I want to be able to get them out there before this releases so that people can have a chance to see if it's something they want, so they can go to their local game store and get it or pre-order it if they need to. But with that said, we got a few shuffles here on the Angel deck, so let's go ahead and give it a few more, and we're done there. We're going to have a little off camera here. We start with 12 hit points. I know I'm doing this in reverse order because technically we should be setting up the bad guys first. With that being said, let's go ahead and set up the bad guys. So what is going to be happening here is this is going to be the Morlock Siege is what we're doing. And the Morlocks are being attacked by the Marauders. And they're in this separate deck here that is going to basically be the Marauders. And we have to defeat, I believe it's 3 of them. Yes, we're going to be defeating 3 of them. Once we defeat 3 of them, we win. We lose if they manage to pull off usually the second scheme here. It lets us know that we lose if this gets pulled off, or if we get knocked out. So we're going to try to see if we can stop this Morlock Siege from happening. That should be more than enough shuffles. This is a different set of villains. This is the way these villains work. Is we get a random one, which we start with Arclight here. She gives us 10 hit points. Or she gets 10 hit points, I should say, before we can knock her out. And I'm just going through all the setup here. And I did just go ahead and use military grade and mutant slayers. I'm probably going to start doing randoms on these. I'll probably keep mutant slayers in there. I'll probably change military grade in future playthroughs. Put the routed environment into play. So we're going to put this routed environment into play, which is basically just going to let us know that when we knock these guys out, they're going to go underneath this, and then after the villain is defeated, we put it under here. Like I said, discard each minion that shares a title with the top villain in the villain deck. There's a chance that the minion, then we're going to put a new one of these into play, and it's going to be another Marauder. There's a chance they could be a minion that's already in play, and if they are, it's going to go away is what that's saying. And then the villain activates against each player in player order. That's the thing I mess up a lot. Let's hope I don't forget that, but let's put that into play over here. Alright, so we did that. We set the Hide, Treachery, and the Morlock allies off to the side. They should go into the deck later. We'll see with the second part of this. And we shuffled the villains together to get a new villain. Yeah, we did all that. Alright, cool. So basically it's going to start with 1 threat on it already. And then it's going to be accelerating until it gets to 6 in this case per player. Since we're solo, when it gets 6 on there, this is going to flip. And then it's also going to get a knock counter on there at the end of each the first phase. We'll get to that, our first step. And then once there's 3 knock counters on here, we're going to go on to the next section anyways. Basically, they're trying to break down the door to get to the Morlocks. So we got to see if we can stop that from happening. And it has 1 of the 6 already going there. All right. And I know I'm doing these in reverse order, actually. I know I unboxed Psylocke and then Angel, but since I am crushed for time, I figured Angel looked to me like it might be faster. I don't know. They look like maybe about the same speed to me, because there's one thing I noticed as a weakness here with Angel is I am looking forward to playing Angel the most here, but I got a feeling he don't have a lot of ways to switch to these forms, so I got a feeling it's not going to be as devastatingly strong as I initially thought, just because of not being able to switch to these forms as much as I'm used to, like with Ant-Man. Now we have the bad guys all set up. We come over to our hero. We are an alter ego form. We have our 12 hit points. And we need to draw our hand size of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Man, I thought I shuffled pretty well, but because I always shuffle the deck 100 times, but somehow these cards just stuck together, I guess. We'll see. So after you draw up, the next thing is you get a mulligan, where you get to discard any number of cards that you want to draw back up. I am not going to take a mulligan. I'm going to go ahead and keep all these. I'll take 1. I'm going to discard this 1. So we draw up to, after you decide what you're going to discard with the mulligan, you draw up to your hand size. So that means we draw 1 more, where we drew Siren here. All right. And that'd be our starting hand, and then we get into this. So the way this goes, each round is set up into 2 phases, and the first phase is the hero phase. Oh, one thing we forgot to do is to give ourselves the first player marker, which doesn't matter in solo, I know, but we are the first player. And then we start with the hero phase. The hero phase is each player, starting with the first player, is just going to go through all the actions and stuff. I always refer to them as actions. I play a lot of board games, but we're going to go through all the actions and playing cards and whatnot that we can do until we're done. And then the hero phase will end. We'll do its end steps, and then we'll go into the villain phase and do all their stuff, and then flip back and forth, and that's the game. So let's start with our hero phase. We're the first player, so we go with our hero phase. And all that stuff I said earlier about not being able to change forms, I should just, like I said, other than unboxing, I didn't really read through these cards in detail, and I didn't notice I will be changing forms. At least this card does, so I didn't notice if the other ones do. We'll see. And the reason I bring that up is because one of the things you can do on your turn is you can switch forms. You can switch from alter ego to hero form, and in this case with the trifold, or you can change from hero to alter ego. And in the case of this trifold card, we actually have 3 forms, so we can switch from alter ego to this hero form, or this hero form, or if we're in this hero form, we can switch to this hero form. The reason I bring that up is you only get to do that once per turn that you can choose to do it. But if you have cards that allow you to do it, then that's like getting a free change of form. So in this case, we're actually going to play this card. And the way you play cards in this game is the cost of the card is up here at the top, and the resources you need to pay for them are at the bottom of the card. So you could have other stuff that gives you those resources. But in this case, I want to play this card, so it costs 2. So I have to discard 2 resources from hand. I'm going to discard this 1, and the reason I only have to discard 1 here is it lets us know as a response that after I spend this card to pay for an aerial event, return that event to my hand, after resolving the effects. So I wanted to show that and be able to go, hey, this is going to come back to my hand, and this is the other resource I'm going to pay for that card. So there's my 2 resources. That lets me play Metamorphosis here. So let's play Metamorphosis. It's the event, so it means it's going to be just a one-time play. It is an action, so actions are just things you just do during your turn. It says change form, so I'm going to change form. And I'm going to change the Archangel here, and you can see it changes my stats, and I have new abilities here. So I changed the Archangel. So I changed form. Then if you are Warring Ward the Third, draw a card. If you are Angel, remove 2 threat from a scheme. If you are Archangel, deal 3 damage to an enemy. Well, I am Archangel, so that means we look at this third one. I get to deal 3 damage to an enemy. There's only one enemy in play, that is Arclight, so I do 3 damage to Arclight. And then that would be normally this card would go to my discard pile. But I have Angel here, which says as a response, after I play an aerial event, deal damage to an enemy equal to that event's printed cost. So, aerial event. So the printed cost was 2, so I do another 2 damage. So I'll go do 2 damage to Arclight. And remember, when we played that card, we paid for it with this, which said if it was an aerial event, we get to return that event to our hand after resolving its effect. So we get to return this to our hand after resolving its effect. Next, we're going to play this card, which is another event, but this one is a hero action, whereas the previous one was an action, which means we can just do it no matter what form we're in. This one is a hero action, so we have to do this in hero form. So we're going to play that, and we're going to discard Siren here to pay for that thing. So here's that hero action. It says the villain attacks you. Other characters cannot defend against this attack, so it means I have to take the attack because I taunted them. And then I get to draw 3 cards. So the villain's going to activate and attack me. And the way this works is the villain's going to attack me. They get 1 attack right now. It has a forced interrupt. Then when Arclight attacks me or an ally I control, I have to choose to either confuse a character I control or Arclight gets +2 attack for this attack. I'm going to give her that +2 attack for this attack, so I have to choose that because she's attacking me. So now she's doing 1, 2, 3. Now, since Arclight is attacking me, right now I can choose if I want to defend. And the way I defend is, I have a defense over here. I can choose to exhaust my character. And if I do, that means I'm defending. I'm activating one of my abilities to the side here. And by exhausting my character and defending, it means I'll reduce any damage that is coming into me by 3. And then anytime a villain activates against you, they get what's called a boost card. So let's go ahead and get their boost card here. And let's reveal it. We're going to ignore all the card. We're only looking down here. And we're looking for these little symbols here. For each of these symbols, they get plus to whatever they're doing, attacking or scheming against us. In this case, they were attacking, so they get +1, plus the 2, that's 3, and then the 1. So it's doing 4 damage to me. So Arclight did 4 damage to me. -3, that means I take 1 damage because I did defend. And all of that was off of the taunt card here. So that means it said they attacked me. And then now I get to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. I kind of already hinted at it, but we're going to go ahead and do it. So once per turn, we can change to an alternate form. We're going to choose to change from this hero form. And I'm just keeping it like this because I'm exhausted. But we're going to change from this hero form to my alter ego form. And we still come in exhausted. So that was my one-time change. Next, or one-time free change, I should say. Next, we have this action here. It says I can heal 1 damage from Warren Worthington III. Limit once per round. I will activate that to heal up that 1 damage I took. Next, we already know we did this, so we're going to do it again. We're playing this card using the power of flight, which is it doubles the number of resources this card generates while paying for an aerial card. So it has 1. We needed 2, but it doubles it because this is an aerial card. So playing this card, which lets us change form. Going back to the Archangel form. Since we're in Archangel form, we're dealing 3 damage to an enemy. Dealing 3 damage to an enemy. Arclight goes down to 2. And Normally, there'd be this response here that says, after I play an aerial event, deal damage to an enemy equal to that event's printed cost. But here's the thing. This was limit once per phase. I'm still in the same hero phase, so I cannot just do that 2 damage again. And I also forgot this was exhausted still when I did that. So next, we're going to play that taunt that we just drew again. We've done this before, but we just drew another taunt, so let's do this again. Let's pay for it here with Warpath. Let's not do that with Warpath, actually. Let's do it with this Avian Anatomy. I don't know why I'm holding on to it. I was thinking, oh, I might draw an event, but... So Arclight's attacking me now. This time we're going to choose, since she's attacking me, remember, we have to choose to either confuse a character I control or give her +2 attack. We're going to choose to confuse a character I control. And what confuse is this, they get this card on them that says the next time this character would thwart a scheme, which is, thwart a scheme is when you go and remove threat from a scheme. But the next time I would do that, instead, I have to get rid of this. So we're going to confuse Archangel. I got my little confusion thing here. So now she's attacked. I've confused a character, so she gets 1 attack plus whatever her boost card is. And that's going to be +2. So 1, 2, 3. I could not defend, so I take 3 damage, taking me to 9. And then now we finish out the taunt, which is draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Alright, we're going to play this Ever Vigilant card. This is a 2-cost event that says play only if your identity has the aerial trait. I have the aerial trait. Alright. Hero action, ready your hero, remove 2 threat from the main scheme. I'm in hero form. We're going to discard these 2 to pay for that. So, hero action, ready my hero. So that means I get to ready my hero, unexhaust them basically, and remove 2 threat from the main scheme. Well, there's only 1 on there, but we'll remove that 1 threat. But remember, normally you cannot do that. It'd be if I'm confused, because the next time I thwart, instead it would get rid of this. This is not a thwart, so it meant I got to do that anyways, is the way I read that, because it's only the next time I thwart that I don't get to. That wasn't a thwart. That just removed it. So that card's a little bit better than I was thinking. Alright, one of the last things you can, or one of the other things you can do on your turn that I haven't mentioned yet is once per turn or phase, or not really once per phase, but you can just choose to exhaust your character to either thwart, and remember we already talked about that, you would thwart would be you get to remove threat from the main scheme equal to whatever this number is, which is 0 in this case, or you can attack, which makes sense, attack, do that much damage to something. And we already talked about the defend when it comes in. The other thing we didn't talk about is on only in your alter ego typically. I'm assuming eventually we'll see someone that can do it not in alter ego. But right now, alter ego is that you could exhaust them and you could recover this many hit points. Now in this case, I could thwart since, and just to get rid of this confusion, but Arclight's only at 2 hit points. So I'm going to go ahead and activate my ability to attack somebody for 2 damage. Going to do 2 damage to Arclight, which is going to be enough to knock her out. So Arclight gets knocked out. So that triggers this forced response on Routed, which says after the villain is defeated, put it under here. We do that. Discard each minion that shares a title with that top villain of the villain deck. We don't have one. And now the villain activates against each player in player order. And that's the thing I always forget, so let's make sure I do that. So we're going to get a new villain. And it's going to be Chimera. Oh, sorry, I had that off camera. It's going to be Chimera here. So now she's going to activate against me. Activate means she's going to... Now, in this case, it's not like the taunt where it said she attacks me. In this case, she's activating against me. When a villain activates against you, it's going to look and see what form you're in. If you're in alter ego form, it's going to scheme. If I am in hero form, it's going to attack. I am in hero form, so she is going to attack. And then she has a forced interrupt when we attack, and we know that because of the little star there. When Chimera attacks you or an ally you control, choose to either spend a It's a mental resource, I believe. Or Chimera gets +2 attack for this attack. I did not plan this out right because I was thinking I could play this card, but it says I have to be able to exhaust an aerial character I control. I don't have one I can exhaust because this one's already exhausted. So, and it's not a mental resource, so we can't pay that. So unfortunately, we're going to have to give her the +2 attack. So she gets 1, 2, 3, plus her boost card. Another 1. So she's doing 4 damage to me. Whew. Did not plan that out very well. But I also forgot to give her hit points here, when she's at 11. Alright, well, we knocked out a villain on the first turn, but we're pretty hurt. With that, we're going to end our turn. After all the players have taken their turn, you can discard as many cards you want to from your hand. I'm going to discard this from hand. After that, you draw up to whatever your current hand size is. My hand size is 5. I have no cards in hand, so we're going to draw all 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, after you've drawn up, you ready all your characters, or all your cards, and then it goes to the villain phase. First step of the villain phase is to accelerate the scheme. In that case, we look here, it says to accelerate it +1. Add 1 threat per player, so solo, 1 threat added. And then, next, the villain is now going to activate against every identity, starting with the first player. I'm the first player, so it's going to look and see what form I'm in, and she's going to activate against me. I am in hero form, and we talked about this, so that means since I'm in hero form, she's going to attack me. And actually, sorry, I'm not used to this. I forgot. This is called a boosted acceleration, or I actually don't know exactly what that's called, but it's an acceleration token. And when these are out, this symbol is out. That means when that acceleration happened in step 1, that another threat gets added in. So I was able to do all that damage, but now, since I'm still in Archangel form, it's going to add another threat to this during that first step. After the first step, also, they were supposed to get a knock counter. Because remember, when I get 3 of these, they're going to break that door down. So, forgetting things left and right here. But at least I remember before I got too far in. So since she's attacking me, I have to either spend a mental resource or get +2 for this, or give her +2 for this attack. I'm going to give her +2 for the attack. So now I have to choose to defend. I'm going to choose to defend. So I'm going to reduce the damage by 3. She's getting 1, 2, 3. So really it's just whatever the boost is, that's how much damage we're going to take. Which is 3. Ugh. This may be a shorter one than I thought. Alright. Now that the villain is activated, if there was any minions in play, they would activate against me. Any minions again in play with me, they would activate. There are none. So next we go to the encounter phase, and we could lose right here. Because we are at 2 hit points, so let's see what happens here. We now look at the encounter card, but we have to look at everything here, and we do everything. At this point, we are looking at everything that's on the card now. So in this case, it's a treachery. When revealed, give the villain a tough status card. So a tough status card is this card, which says the next time that character would take any amount of damage, discard this status card instead. So basically, that means the next damage dealt to them is negated, basically. So, villain gets a tough status card. And then, place threat on the main scheme equal to the number of villains under routed. We have 1 villain under routed, so it's going to place 1 threat on the main scheme. And that card is dealt with now. The last part of the villain phase is to pass the first player marker to the next player in player order to the left, and that's it. Now we're just going to go back and forth. We did a lot of damage, but we just took a lot of damage. So let's see what we can do here. Just want to look at something here in my other hero form. All right, we're going to do this Razor Dive here. It's a 3-cost event. Aerial hero action. we're paying for it with this. Well, actually, take it back. Paying for it with this. And then we have another, we threw our third aerial one, so we're out of those now, but that's the one that counts as double if it is an aerial, which it is. So we've now paid for that. The hero action is attack, deals 6 damage to an enemy. If you are Archangel, this attack gains overkill and piercing. So overkill just means it overruns. If there was minions, we're not doing that, but we are going to use the piercing, because what piercing means is if a character has this toughness and piercing hits them, it gets rid of the piercing first, or the toughness first, and then does its damage. So it got rid of that, and it does 6 damage. So Chimera takes 6 damage, taking her to 5. And then remember, this is a new phase. So now, after I play an aerial event, deal damage to an enemy equal to that event's printed cost. Event's printed cost, I do 3 damage. And if I just had one more, I thought about doing a taunt. If I would have had one more, I might have been able to take her out this turn, but I don't think we can do that. So now, we're going to use this opportunity to change to another form. We're going to change to Warren Rather than the Third here. We're going to activate the action that heals me for 1. And then we're going to go to the end of my turn. I'm going to discard this card. I'm going to keep this in hand. And now we draw up to our hand size, which is 6. So 1. Oh, I guess I can show y'all. 2, 3, 4. Yep, 4, 5, 6. Ready all of our stuff. We accelerate the scheme by 1. In this case, we're not in Archangel form no more, so it doesn't give that +1. They get the second knock counter. Next, Chimera is going to activate. In this case, it's only when she attacks that she gets that special, so she's going to activate because we're in alter ego form. So that means she doesn't get to get the extra from the attack. She's just going to scheme, which is most likely going to pull this off. But I misplanned I just planned poorly, so it's going to pull that off, I'm sure, because that's 1 plus 2, so it's adding 3 threat to here, which is 6, which is more than enough to pull this off. So this finishes. And we go look at this next one, which is, when revealed, each player puts 1 set-aside Morlock ally into play under their control. Shuffle the Hide Treachery into the encounter deck. If the previous stage was advanced by knock counters, give each Morlock ally a tough status card. It was not. It was progressed through them. We basically opened the door for them. But, yep, so we go get a Morlock ally and put them into play. And this is basically an ally does not count against your ally limit. It says card abilities cannot remove this ally from play. Because your ally limit's normally 3. This isn't going to count against us. And also, I didn't read it out loud there, but it said I get 2 of them if I am in solo, which I am. Or a single player game. So I get 2 Morlock allies. They don't count against my ally limit, like we said. As a force to interrupt, when an enemy attacks me, if it attacks a Morlock I control instead. So we just got 2 Morlocks, and now we gotta go shuffle this Hide into the deck. Alright, that should be more than enough shuffles. Cut it there. Alright, so we did all that stuff on that card. And now we have a new action here. We can exhaust a Morlock ally to shuffle Hide, which we already shuffled it in, but like if it ends up out of there, we can shuffle it back in. If there are 3 villains under the routed, the players win the game. We only got 1, so we don't win the game yet. But if we get her knocked out and 1 more, and then if this stage is completed, or if there are no Morlock allies into play, so if we lose our Morlock allies, we lose the game. So we're going to see if we can pull this off now. And that was all through her scheme and activation. So she's done activating. Next, any minions? There's no minions, so nothing there. Next, we have to go to the encounter phase. We do ourselves an encounter card. So, let's see what this encounter card is. Oh, same one we had before. Give the villain a tough status card. I don't reckon I like that much. Alright. And then put threat on the main scheme equal to the number of villains under routed. There's only one, so it puts one threat on the main scheme. Now this scheme, though, we got to be careful. We cannot let this one trigger, because if it does, they win. With that, we're back to, well, switching that, and then we're back to the beginning of the round again. We're going to play this Worthington Industries for 1, using this. So we're going to put this, it's a support, just means something we can just put in play and we can activate it. And the act is an action. Like I said, we have actions out there. One of the actions here is we can exhaust Worthington Industries. This card, shuffle 1 aerial card from your discard pile into your deck. And if you're in alter ego form, draw a card. We're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and shuffle that one of those metamorphoses back in my deck. Alright, should be more than enough shuffles. And then we are in alter ego form, so we get to draw a card. I was hoping to draw that. That would have been nice. Alright. We're going to go ahead and activate that action where we heal ourselves for 1. So with allies, they can do the same thing that we were doing with the heroes with their abilities, but they get these little, you'll notice these little stars underneath the thwart and attack. They actually have to take consequence damage for doing what they do. So in this case, I'm going to use the Morlock to attack Chimera for 1, which is enough to get rid of this toughness. But now this Morlock has to take 1 damage for doing that as a consequence. We're going to take a chance. Worst case scenario, we just got to let a Morlock die. We're not going to heal or recover like I said we could do here and get 3 of our hit points back. Instead, we're going to switch to Archangel form. And we're going to go ahead and attack Chimera for 2. Which is enough to knock her out. So now we got to go through all these routed triggers again, because we're going to put Chimera underneath the routed, like it says. We draw the next minion, our next villain. We check if there's any minion with that name in play. There isn't. And then now this villain activates against us. Now this villain has 9 hit points. I didn't show on the other ones, but it's at the bottom of the card there. But he has 9 hit points. And now he's going to activate against us. We are in hero form, so he's going to attack us. Well, actually, he's going to attack a Morlock. And normally we would have to, and we're just going to choose, yeah, I just realized we're probably going to lose a Morlock here. We'll choose this Morlock, because I just realized I can't defend now, because I didn't plan that out very well. So he's going to attack this Morlock. And since he's attacking, anytime he attacks me or an ally I control, I have to choose to either discard the highest cost card from I control, or Greycrow gets plus X attack for this attack, where X is the printed cost of the highest cost card I control. The highest cost card I control is this Worthington Industries, because these don't have a cost. So that means it's going to be either give him a +1 attack or get rid of this. So I'm instead just going to go ahead and discard this, so he doesn't get any pluses. So now he's just 1 attack plus his boost, 0 plus 0. So he just did 1 damage to this Morlock. We got lucky there. We're going to go ahead and play this Adaptive Plumage. It costs 3. 3. Alright. So, aerial attack, thwart. So normally, since it says thwart, normally when we go, if we're thwarting, we would not. Instead, it's this. But we're not using this for thwart because it's a hero action, either thwart or attack. We're doing the hero action attack. If you are Archangel, deal 4 damage to an enemy and stun it. So, we're doing 4 damage to Greycrow. And we're stunning him. And what stun is, remember how that confuse was the next time you would thwart, you don't. Instead, stun is the next time you would attack, you don't. So in this case, we stun Greycrow. He will not attack next time. And remember, we're in Archangel form now, so after we play an aerial event, we deal damage equal to whatever the cost was, printed cost was. Printed cost is 3, so we do 3 damage. Taking him to 2. Man, if these would have went to 1, this would be over, but instead we're going to have the Morlock go ahead and attack for 1. Taking him to 1. Morlock has to take its consequence damage. And we should have this. We'll see how bad this goes for us. But we'll go to the end of my turn. I don't know why I'm keeping it. I guess just in case we need to unexhaust for any reason. So we'll keep that in hand. Our hand size is 5. We have 1. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready all of our cards. So we should have this unless something real bad goes real wrong here. Or I screwed it up again, which is very possible. But here we go. Accelerate the scheme for 1. Plus, we're in Archangel form, so it gets an additional 1. So it accelerates for 2. Alright. Next, villain's going to activate. We are in hero form, so he's going to attack the Morlock, one of the Morlocks. We'll choose this one with the most hit points, just in case something crazy happens. So he's attacking this Morlock. We will choose to defend for the Morlock. So we're going to be reducing by 3. Oh, actually, hey, I don't know why. I'm in hero form. He is attacking. He is stunned. So he is no longer stunned. Instead of attacking, he is no longer stunned. So it also means we didn't have to do this forced interrupt that when Grey Crow attacks you, because the interrupt is seeing whether he's going to attack. He wasn't going to be able to attack because he was stunned. So we don't have to do any of that stuff. And even what we always chose, give him the pluses, but either way. There's no minions in play, so nothing happens there. So we just got to hope this encounter card doesn't mess us around. Here we go. Oh, it puts a minion into play. So we put this Blockbuster minion into play. And we are going to have to do something about this, because this minion would come into play against us. But since I am playing solo, I just put all the bad guy stuff up here. But he is a minion. He has guard, which means we have to take him out before we can finish off the villain. Forced interrupt when Blockbuster attacks you or an ally you control. We have to choose. So it's kind of like the villains in all those regards. I want to say I've never had one of these come out. I think it did. I don't know. Anyways, so we got this minion in play. We're going to have to take him out before we can take out Grey Crow. With that, swap this out to another player, which is us. And we're back to the beginning of our turn, which, yeah, we have enough to just take him out. So let's just do that. I was going to play around and be fancy about it, but we're going to do this Razor Dive. Cost 3. Because Razor Dive says, it's funny because we're going to use the other part of this now, because Razor Dive says, deal 6 damage to an enemy, which we're going to choose Blockbuster because he's got guard. And if you're an Archangel, we are, this attack gains Overkill. Overkill means it's going to do all of its damage to its target, and then the rest will carry over to the villain. So in this case, we hit Blockbuster for 5, and then the last damage goes over to knock out Grey Crow. So, alright, that did go a little like I expected with Archangel. Just roll over a lot of damage and just take him out. But I'll go back and make sure I didn't mess that up again, because I did mess up during the Domino one, I think it was, that I did pretty bad. I just forgot to do a lot of things. Because, once again, that still felt easy. It's the reason I was thinking about switching to Juggernaut, because I just felt like this one was a little easy. I just thought, well, when you skip villains activating against you and attacking, that's going to make it easier. So I'll see if I missed anything. Hopefully I didn't. But that hopefully gave you the way Archangel works and looked at the mechanics of it. And it is interesting. I just didn't see that change form. I don't know why I didn't catch that. And that Metamorphosis card's so good. There's cards I definitely take out of this, but I definitely think I like this deck for the most part the way it is. Of course, I didn't even use the allies or anything, but I definitely want to build with it and see where we go. With that, I'm going to get on and move on. Like I said, I'm sorry if that felt a little rushed, And that's the reason I figure I might have messed up somewhere, because I kind of rushed it. But I actually have played this game quite a bit. But we'll see what happens. There's just so much procedural things that sometimes I just forget some things. And we'll see if I get to log this into my app or if it will be an asterisk like with the domino one. All right. Other than that, that was cool. I did like playing him. Yeah, I like playing him. I was looking forward to Angel. We'll see if how much I like the Psylocke. I like Angel more than I do Psylocke, but the Psylocke deck looks cool. Looks like it's got some cool mechanics to it. So let's get to that one. Other than that, thank you for watching and have a great day.